in my Lego kingdom. The kingdom of King Cuthbert the Wise is under grave threat from the vampire the Old One, who by assassination of the Emperor Dragon Nograd became emperor himself. The first action the wily vampire took was to send a legion of deadly flying skeletons across the misty ocean, transported by a ghost ship. But King Cuthbert instructed the League of Sorceresses to conjure a mighty storm to slow down this ship. He also traveled to the Temple of the Golden Owl to ask the leader of the Eagle Rangers, Elvar the Thunderwing, to fly out to sea to check on the progress of this ghost ship. But because of the majesty and power of the storm, the Ranger Scout is unable to find the whereabouts of the skeleton ship. But Cuthbert dares not order the sorceresses to stop the storm, because the mighty winds and rains from it extend across the sea, all along the coastal lands into the realm of the Old One, and is the only thing preventing the vampire emperor from launching a ground assault against the kingdom. Besides, Cuthbert is not yet ready with his defenses. Busy at work in a secret room in the castle, the last of the elven magicians is still trying to find an antidote to the deadly weapons of the vampires and skeletons. But despite working round the clock, the magician is so far unsuccessful in duplicating the formula from the recipe in the ancient spell book. And so, King Cuthbert now checks on yet another avenue of defense, secret to all except his most select ministers of state. After Nograd the Dragon was beheaded by the Old One's forces, the king secretly had his Wolfpack Ranger spies transport the dragon's severed head to the Master of the Dragons, Zephram Emberstorm, a powerful wizard and the most knowledgeable person in the kingdom on all species of dragon. There, in the Wizard's Cave Fortress, he is to take the decapitated head of the dragon and, through his expertise and wizardry, create a new version of the Green Dragon. But this time, a dragon loyal to Cuthbert and one who will obey his commands. And so, word comes to Cuthbert that the wizard has been successful, and the new Green Dragon, now an infant but growing rapidly, has been created. The king goes himself to inspect the scene, and Zephram Emberstorm tells Cuthbert the Wise that the dragon should be grown and at full strength in a matter of days. Will the many defensive plans of King Cuthbert pay off and keep the advances of the Old One at bay? The answer lies in the future. Tune in again next time and see for yourself. Hi, I'm Tom Bray since 1954. Welcome back to my channel. And I know I'm supposed to be kind of taking it easy and slowing down a little bit because I have so many big sets to build, and I was going to go kind of every other week, except that I found this set in my closet of unbuilt Lego, and I was so excited about it, I just had to build it because I knew it would fit really well into my lore right now. And also because I was just in the mood for something different. And this is a vintage set that I don't usually buy. I kind of have made a decision not to buy older sets, except, there's so little being released in the castle realm that you kind of have to go backwards sometimes. And I had seen this set at my local bricks and minifig shop, and it was a good price. It was a certified set, which means, of course, that the pieces are kind of vetted. They're counted, make sure that everything's there, and make sure nothing's cracked or broken, because I think this may be from the era where some of the darker pieces were having problems. I'm not sure if that came later. The set is from 1993, but I wanted to have some confidence when I was buying a used set that all the pieces were there. Now, this did not come with a box, which is why it was affordable to me, but it did come with all of the minifigs, all the pieces, and the instructions, which was absolutely key. This is set number 60761. It's called The Dark Dragon's Den, and it's from a series in the 90s called The Dragon Knights. This particular set's from 1993. There are 194 parts in the set and 4 minifigs. Now, 194 parts is misleading to our modern ears, because if you heard 194 parts today, you would think, my God, this is a small set. But not so in those days, because one of the immediate things you'll notice is that there are big molded pieces. You know, all the rock formations are pre-molded, so you're not building up rock structures like you would in some of the more modern sets. There's a stairwell included in this that's a curved staircase that's pre-molded, which is amazing because it would take you forever to engineer this and build it. So basically, if it weren't for these molded parts, you would probably have 4 times the number of parts in this set, and it would take you a lot longer to get up and running. I think this was an era in Lego history where they were much more concerned with a play value and getting kids building and playing fast than they were about the actual building experience or the kind of sophistication of the build. Because this is by no means a sophisticated build, but it is packed with play power. It's just amazing. Let's look at it. The first thing you'll notice is that in those days, most Lego sets were, if not all, were built on a base, a Lego kind of square or rectangle base. That's not really true anymore. This is built on a big green rectangle. That's the way it was built. And it came together really fast, like I said, because of those great big molded pieces, like, for example, that staircase that I told you about, and also these rock formations, which, as you can see, are really just molded one-piece sections. So if you look around it a little bit, you'll notice that there are trees and, brown trees, but it works. You'll notice the brown trees are old school trees. You know, they're almost pixelated trees, if you will, in that old Lego style, which is absolutely delightful. This is what it was, and so it's kind of fun to see that and rebuild it. Now, you'll notice, speaking of play value, you've got that wonderful winding staircase, and up top is a platform where you can stage soldiers that are guarding this kind of little secret cave fortress of the wizard. And on the other side, to get up onto this platform, is a double ladder, which is a very cool feature. And then around the sides of the structure are some gates and doorways that will contain the dragon underneath, or however, puts prisoners in there, whatever you want to do. And it opens. It doesn't open in a particularly sophisticated manner, but it's cool nonetheless. And so there's just a lot of things to play with here. There's a lot of places where play can be initiated and imaginative castle play can happen. And so I have to say that I'm impressed by that. My guess would be that sets in this era concentrate on that rather than the building experience. Now, it comes with, now get this, in addition to, this play structure, basically, this set comes with 4 minifigs, including a wizard. It comes with a green dragon with articulated legs and, by the way, red wings and a kind of a red fire coming out of its mouth, and a parrot. Because, what wizard doesn't need a parrot? It also comes with 2 horses, which is really, really cool, and some kind of armored headpiece things that are kind of scary looking in red. And it comes with 2 flags, and 2 flag kind of staffs, which is really cool. So again, this is set 60761. If you're a fantasy castle lover like I am, I think you could easily find a place for this in your Lego kingdom. I certainly am happy to have it, and I'm certainly happy to have written the lore around that for my own Lego Fantasy Castle world and incorporating the structure into my kingdom. How many of you have this or have a vintage set from this Dragon Knights era? I'm really curious about that. I think this is possibly a sweet spot for me for vintage sets because, again, as you know, I like those small piece sets. And because of the molded pieces, I can get up and going quickly, and there's some play value to it. I will say that there is one kind of fiddly thing, and I'll tell you this from the senior builder's perspective. This could be a function of the age of the set and have nothing to do with the design. But I found it difficult in some places to horse the pieces together. And my suspicion is it was, at some point or another it had been in the sun, and even though it wasn't faded, this is a 20-plus-year-old set, and it could very well be that some of the pieces have warped over time, especially if it was left together, and you know what I mean. So I don't think it's a part of the design. But I think more than likely it's just a function of the age of the set. I ultimately got it put together without a problem. It's stayed together. It looks nice. And also it's those, as I said before, it's those old school, paper directions, which are a lot less user-friendly, you could argue, than a modern directions, and of course the modern app that you can use on a tablet or on a phone. I found that a little bit challenging, but if you work your way through slowly and you make sure that you look all through the page and that you're not missing pieces, because it doesn't tell you, okay, now you take this piece and you put it here. It's not like a modern low count piece set where it's basically piece by piece and it takes you through. You have to kind of discern. You have to figure it out. And, that's good. That's good for my brain. And I have no complaint about it. It's just a different building experience. Again, I'm going to leave you now, but I would really like to know if any of you collect or have any of the sets from the Dragon Knights, and if there's other sets you think that I should look at and look for that might be really fun for me to add. I know I said that I wasn't going to buy any more vintage sets, but I could be tempted to buy one or two because I think the Dragon Knights theme is right up my alley because it's castle, but it's fantasy castle. Thanks for watching. Happy building.